Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dinda Naafi with student number 2313042019. So in this video, I'm going to make a translation analysis as a final project of Theory of Translation course 2026. Before I start the translation analysis, I would like to inform the text source. So I got the text from the official website of TED from their video entitled How Some Friendships Last and Others Don't. And I got the text from their transcript, which is originally English language and translated into Indonesian version. So here is the source text and also the target text that I took. And I will make the analysis sentence by sentence using the theory that I have gotten along this semester of Theory of Translation course. All right, let's just start with the first sentence. So for the first sentence, I noticed an example of textual equivalence in the phrase "on the other hand," which is translated as "di sisi lain." I think the translator chose this expression because both phrases introduce a contracting idea, so the connection between ideas remains clear for Indonesian's reader. I also notice a structure shift in looks different, which is translated as berbeda. So the translator simplifies a verb phrase into an adjective to make the sentence sounds more natural and also keeping the same meaning. Next. In the second sentence, I notice a grammatical equivalence in the modal verb might, which is translated to bisa jadi. Both expressions show possibility rather than certainty, so the original meaning is successfully conveyed. And I also notice a class shift in supporting each other, translated as dukungan terhadap satu sama lain. I think the translator chose a noun phrase to make the sentence more formal, but the focus shift from the action of helping each other to the idea of support itself, making the relationship feel slightly less active. And another example of class shift is feeling comfortable, translated as kenyamanan. This choice also creates a more balanced sentence structure, but it also changed the connotation because the original phrase sounds personal and emotional, while kenyamanan, or in target language, it feels more formal and less emotional. So next, I also noticed collocation and structure shift in difficult times, which is translated as masa sulit. The translator adjusts the word order to fit Indonesian grammar and also use a natural Indonesian collocation, so the meaning is conveyed smoothly. Let's move to another sentence, which is the third one. In this sentence, I notice an example of textual equivalence. There is the word but, which is omitted, and I think the translator may have removed it because the contrast is still understandable from the context. Next, I also notice above word level equivalence from the phrase deeply personal, translated as bersifat personal. The main meaning is conveyed, but the word deeply is omitted. So I think the translator wanted to make a more natural expression in Indonesian, but this also reduced the connotation because the original phrase suggests a stronger level of intimacy using the word deeply than the translation, which is the omission of deeply. And I also noticed a structure shift in has to get deeply personal, translated as harus bersifat personal. The original describes a process of becoming personal, while the translation focuses on a condition. So the idea of gradual relationship development becomes less visible in this translation. Lastly, in this sentence, I noticed a structure shift in telling a friend translated as bercerita dengan teman. I think the translator changed the grammatical structure, but the main meaning remains understandable for Indonesian readers. Pardon. And I also notice above word level equivalence in sharing your interest translated as berbagi minat. So the core meaning is already conveyed, although the word your is omitted because usually Indonesian often leaves out possessive markers when the context is already clear. So I think the translator tried to make the translation become natural for Indonesian reader. And another example appears in build closeness, which is translated as membangun kedekatan. So the translator successfully keeps the idea that closeness develops through interaction, so the message remains clear and understandable. And lastly, I noticed grammatical equivalence in the word can, which is translated as dapat, because both expressions indicates possibility, so the function and the meaning of the modal verb are maintained. That's why the translator tried to keep the literal translation to this because it has the same function and also the same meaning. All right. Now comes to the conclusion. So to sum up, I think the translation in the paragraph generally has the meaning of the source text through several types of equivalence and translation shifts. But some choices, such as the omission of deeply and also but, slightly reduce the emotional intensity and textual connection of the original text. But the translation still has a natural, understandable, and effective for Indonesian readers. I think that's all about my presentation. I do really apologize if there's any mistake I made in this presentation, and thank you very much for watching. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.